We usually create the problems that cause the majority of our suffering. We are the ones usually creating the problems that are causing us to suffer. Now, why do I say that? It's because if we pay attention enough, and it does take some time and space to look at these things, if we look at things closely enough, what creates suffering seems that it's the situation, right? What creates suffering seems to be that it's the situations that we're going through. For example, a phone call we receive, or lack of financial resources. These things could be challenging, but the suffering itself comes from what we say to ourselves regarding these situations. And we give so much importance to these things, to our status, to what other people are saying to us, the opinion of other people, things that happened 20 years ago still affect us. So we identify, we act as if we are these things. We are our memories. We are how much money we make. We are the recognition. So we are so closely attached. It's really a bond. We bond ourselves with so many ideologies, right? I vote for this party. That if somebody votes for the other party, they're not right. I'm willing to fight on it. It could go very far. It's different for each individual, but we all identify with things that are not us, or we could identify with the story that we are victims. Now, we need a lot of compassion when approaching this subject, because a lot of us did have very challenging lives, right? Where real trauma happened. And I'm not disregarding that. I've been through that myself. But the question is, are we identifying ourselves? Are we playing the role of a victim? Are we making life about something that it is not? Because all what life is, if we strip it down to its essential, is energy. Right now, if that energy leaves my body, I'm gone in a moment, and it just takes a fraction of a second. That's what's the important thing of life. It's life itself. The rest is important, but we could say it's relatively important. And why it's important to use different terminology is to train ourselves, or to change our perception, so that we could start putting some distance between us and things that are in our life. My chair, my car, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, it's all great. But if we attach ourselves, if we identify ourselves to these things, then we are inviting suffering, because these things could go up and down. These things are cyclical, they come and go. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Or fortunately. And I say fortunately because that means there's an opportunity for freedom. There's an opportunity to play with things, to have fun, to enjoy without creating suffering. And if you could sense it right now in your body, there's life energy. And you could notice that. You're the one noticing the life energy. You could also notice that you are identified with some things that are not who you are. And that's a spiritual path. That's the path of growing and feeling more and more freedom and joy and peace. It's not an easy path, but I don't think there's any other choice. I don't think there are any other choices that are. I don't think there are any other any other choices, honestly, because what else are we gonna do, right? Do we keep avoiding the subject? Do we keep pretending that if I run away from it and if I run after money or love or success, somehow these things will disappear and everything will arrange itself? It won't. When was the last time you got what you wanted, right? If we look at the other perspective is, well, I'm going to set some goals and I'll get what I want, and that's that. I'll live happily ever after. When was the last time you got what you wanted? It doesn't have to be a big. It could be a meal. It could be you watched the TV show you wanted to watch, the ending, the big ending, or you bought a car, you bought a piece of clothing. And how long did that joy last? Not very long. Because what happens is the mind looks for the next thing. It wants the next thing. So we just have to look at this little small sample of getting what we want, and it's not enough. That's all we need to look at, because that represents every day in our life. We set goals, we go after things, we get them, we're happy. When we don't get them, we're not happy. But what I'm saying is that when we don't get things, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to see why that bothers us so much. And that's where we get identified. It's an opportunity to see very clearly where we are getting identified, with what we are getting identified. It could be also getting identified with our emotions. If I feel sadness, then I don't like it. If I'm not always happy and jumping up and down, I don't like it. Or even if I get angry, I don't like it. Well, it already happened. So we are identified, we made we created concept, we learned concepts of what should be right, what should be wrong. That's another way of identifying, of believing things. And what I'm saying is, what we are is basically energy. And the more we put that as our priority, and we still do the things you have to do every day, go to work, relationships, but we put our priority into feeding this energy. So it could be just taking a break more often, looking at the sky, staying silent for a few moments every day. Interrupting the pattern of our mind that always wants the next thing. Without judging it, we just interrupt it. The mind doesn't know any better. It needs our help, our presence. So one way is to invite space in our life, not to have to run and be perfect and think that, oh my God, if I don't do this thing this week, it's the end of the world. We literally feel that if we don't get some things done, it's the end of the world. There's always urgency on everything these days, right? And yes, sometimes some things are urgent, but it cannot be that it's always urgent. It doesn't make sense. So we could wake up from this kind of nightmare where everything is urgent and it's the end of the world if things don't go my way. And we could interrupt that pattern. It's very possible. With curiosity, to understand what's happening, with compassion, and gradually sensing the aliveness in our body. We could even do that right now. Feeling the points of contact with the chair, taking a breath, creating space. Recognizing stillness that is inside our body. Focusing on just a few things to do in the week. And it does take courage and trust. It takes courage because even though it is our truth, I believe, when I sense it in the body, there's a truth of that life is energy, none of the other stuff. It still takes courage because we have attachments to these things that we don't really control and that can make us suffer. So it takes courage because we're used to doing things in a certain way. For example, we're used to cramming our week with full of priorities and running around and that we feel that we're doing something, we're getting somewhere. Then we could crash one day and we have no more energy because we pushed too far. So that takes courage to face that fact. And it takes trust to trust that by prioritizing other things like space, inner peace, self-compassion. It takes trust to let go and to let go of the belief that if I don't do everything, nothing will get done. As if I am the creator of the world, right? We fall in that belief that if I don't do everything myself, as if I'm the one that's creating the weather and gravity and the nervous system and how I digest food. We don't do any of these things. These things are all there by miracle, but we think that we are going to decide of the fate of how things are going to go in our life. Well, we can take action. We could do the best that we can. But doesn't it make sense that the same miracle that's controlling everything else is also, maybe not the word control, but is also creating life every moment? We are not doing that. So we got to watch out when we got to watch out to watch the pattern when we start believing that we are the ones creating everything and we have to do everything ourselves. Otherwise, it's the end of the world. Otherwise, fear could take over. So all of that is fine. There's no judgment here. We're just looking at things. And when these things come up, you have an opportunity. It's not an opportunity to run away from these things or to suppress them or to minimize them. It's the opportunity to welcome them. It's been happening long enough that we are running away from what happens in the present moment, and it doesn't work. Running away doesn't work. Judging it doesn't work. So there's a middle path here. Whatever is bothering you, just stay with it for a few moments. Get to know yourself intimately. And the more you grow your energy and you bring that to the situation in your life that is bothering you, the more you'll see that all the suffering was really happening in your mind, not in the situation. I hope this helps. And if you would wish to get in touch with me, I'll leave a link in the comment section. Have yourself a wonderful day.